Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Welcome to another episode of Bible Study with Tina. Today, we're going to be studying the book of Joshua, chapters 10, 11, and 12. And it says, Now it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and his kings. So he had done to Ai and its king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, like one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all its men were mighty. Therefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Dibber, king of Eglon, saying, Come up to me and help me, that we may attack Gideon, for it has made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore, the five kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon, gathered together and went up, and they and all their armies, and camped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp of Gilgal, saying, Do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly, save us and help us, for all the king of the Amorites who dwell in the mountain have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said to Joshua, Do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your hand. Not a man of them shall stand before you. Joshua therefore came upon them suddenly, and having marched all night from Gilgal. So the Lord routed them before Israel, killed them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, chased them along the road that goes to Beth Oron, and struck them down as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it happened, as they fled before Israel and were on the descent of Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down large hailstones from heaven on them as far as Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than the children of Israel killed with sword. Then Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, and he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Aijalon. So the sun stood still, the moon stopped, till the people had revenge upon their enemy. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? So that the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. And there has been no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord heeded the voice of a man. For the Lord fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all the Israelites with him, to the camp at Gilgal. But these five kings had fled and hidden themselves in a cave at Makkedah. And it was told Joshua, saying, The five kings have been found hidden in the cave of Makkedah. So Joshua said, Roll large stones against the mouth of the cave, and set men by it to guard it. And do not stay there yourselves, but pursue your enemies and attack their rear guard. Do not let them to enter their cities. Do not allow them to enter their cities, for the Lord your God has delivered them into your hand. Then it happened, while Joshua and the children of Israel made an end of slaying them with a very great slaughter, till they had finished, and those who had escaped entered the fortified city. And all the people returned to the camp, to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. No one moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel. Then Joshua said, Open the mouth of the cave, and bring out those five kings to me from the cave. And they did so, and brought out those five kings to them from the cave: the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. So it was When they brought out those kings to Joshua, that Joshua called for all the men of Israel and said to the captains of the men of war who went with him, "Come near, put your feet on the necks of these kings." And they drew near and put their feet on their necks. And Joshua said to them, "Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage, for thus the Lord will do to all your enemies, against whom you fight." And afterward Joshua struck them and killed them, and hanged them on 5 trees, and they were hanging on the trees until evening. So it was that at the time of the going down of the sun, that Joshua commanded that they took them down from the tree, cast them into the cave where they had hidden, and laid large stones against the cave mouth, which remains until this very day. On that day, Joshua took Makeda and struck it, and its king, with the edge of the sword. He utterly destroyed them. All the people who were in it, he left, he let none remain. He also did to the king of Makeda as he had done to the king of Jericho. And Joshua passed from Makeda, and all Israel with him, to Libnah, and they fought against Libnah. And the Lord also delivered it and his king into the hand of Israel. He struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword. He let none remain in it, but did to his king as he had done to the king of Jericho. Then Joshua passed from Libnah and all the children with him, and all Israel with him, to Lachish, and they camped against it and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, who took it on the second day, and struck it and all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Horam, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua struck him and his people until he left him none remaining. From Lachish Joshua passed to Eglon and all Israel with him. They camped against it and fought against it. And they took it on that day and struck it with the edge of the sword. All the people who were in it he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. So Joshua went up from Eglon and all the Israel with him to Hebron. They fought against it, and they took it and struck it with the edge of the sword, its king and all his cities, according and all the people who were in it, and he left none remaining, according to all that he had done to Eglon, but utterly destroyed it, and all the people who were in it. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir, and they fought against it, and he took it, and its king, and all its cities. They struck them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the people who were in it. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron. So he did to Debir and his king, and as he had done also to Libnah and his king. So Joshua conquered all the land, the mountain country, and the south, and the lowland, and the wilderness slopes, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all their breath, according to the summer, according all that bread as the Lord of Israel had commanded. And Joshua conquered them from Kadesh Barnea as far as Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even as far as Gibeon. All these kings and their land Joshua took at one time, because the Lord God of Israel fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned, and all Israel with him to the camp at Gilgal. This brings us to the end of chapter 10. We talked about how God helped the Israelites win the battle against all their enemies around them. Now we move to chapter 11, which says, "And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Azor, heard these things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, to the king of Askaf, and to the kings who were from the north, in the mountain, in the plain south of Chinneroth, in the lowland, and in the heights of Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and in the west, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites in the mountains, and the Hivites before below Hermon in the land of Mizpah. So they went out, they and all their enemies, and all their armies with them, as many people as the sand that is on the seashore in multitude, for very many horses, with many very many horses and chariots. And when all these kings are met together, they came and camped together at the waters of Merion to fight against Israel. But the Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver all of them slain before Israel. You shall hamstring You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire. So Joshua and all the people of war with him came against them suddenly by the waters of Merom, and they attacked them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who defeated them and chased them to Greater Sidon, to the brook Mizrephoth, and to the valley of Mizpah eastward. And they attacked them until they left none of them remaining. So Joshua did to them as the Lord had instructed him. He hamstrung their horses and brought their chariots with fire. Joshua turned back at that time and took Hazor and struck it with his king with the sword. For Hazor was formerly the head of all those kingdoms, and he struck all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was none left breathing. Then he burned Hazor with fire. So all the cities of those kings and all their kings Joshua took and struck with the head of the sword. He utterly destroyed them, and as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded. But as for the cities that stood on their mounts, Israel burned none of them, except Hazor only, which Joshua burned. And all the spoils of these cities and the livestock the children of Israel took as a booty for themselves. But they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed him, and they left nothing, and they left none breathing. As the Lord had commanded Moses' servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. Thus Joshua took all this land, the mountain country, all the south, all the land of Goshen, the lowland, the Jordan plain, the mountains of Israel and its lowlands, from Mount Halak and the ascent of Tusia, even as far as Baal Gada in the valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and struck them down and killed them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All the others they took in battle. For it was to the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might receive no mercy, but that he might destroy them as the Lord had commanded Moses. And at that time Joshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron for Debri, from Anak, from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. None of the Anakim were left in the land of the children of Israel. They remained only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. This brings us to the end of chapter 11. Now we move to chapter 12, which says, these are the kings of the land whom the children of Israel defeated, and whose land they possessed on the other side of Jordan, towards the rising of the sun, and from river Arnon to Mount Hermon, and all the eastern Jordan plain. One king was Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon and ruled half of Gilead, from Arah, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of that river, even as far as river Jabbok, which is the border of the Ammonites. And the eastern Jordan plain from the Sea of Chinneroth as far as the Sea of the Arabah, that's the Salt Sea, the road of Bet Jeshimoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah. The other king was Og, king of Bashan, and his territory, who was the remnant of the giants who dwell in Ashtaroth and at Edrei, and reigned over Mount Hermon, over Salca, over all Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maccathites, and over all half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. This Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel had come back. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given it as a possession to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel conquered on this side of the Jordan. On the west, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon as far as Mount Halak and the ascent of Seir, which Joshua gave to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their division. In the mountain country, in the lowlands, in the Jordan plain, in the slopes, in the wilderness, and in the south, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho, the king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, one. The king of Jerusalem, one. The king of Hebron, one. The king of Jarmuth, one. The king of Lachish, one. The king of Eglon, one. The king of Gezer, the king of Debriel, one. The king of Geder, one. The king of Homa, one. The king of Arad, one. The king of Libnah, one. The king of Adullam, one. The king of Makeda, one. The king of Bethel, one. The king of Tapua, one. The king of Ephah, one. The king of Aphek, one. The king of Lasharon, one. The king of Madon, one. The king of Hazor, one. The king of Shimron, Meron, one. The king of Aksaph, one. The king of Tanakh, one. The king of Megiddo, one. The king of Kadesh, one. The king of Jokam in Carmel, one. The king of Dor in the height of Dor, one. The king of Gilgal, one. The king of Tirza, one. All the kings, 31. This brings us to the end of the word today. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. It has been quite a long time that I've started a Bible study. If and I hope you've enjoyed it so far. We're now in the book of Joshua, and I hope you enjoyed this study time. Just reading the Bible and listening to what the Lord has to offer us every day can actually transform our lives. And today is 4th of September once more. It's a wonderful weekday, and I wish you the best. I hope you have a lovely week, a lovely day. I hope to see you tomorrow for another Bible study time. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.